Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Anonymous Radio. I'm Fox, and this is Mary Carmel. It's your name, right?
Yes, this is Mary Carmel from Mary Carmel News. I
Right on,
have,
right on.
I have a blog at WordPress. It's marycarmelnews.wordpress.com, and you can find me at Minds as well, and also across most platforms. Same thing. It's Mary Carmel News all across.
What do you guys typically focus on?
Well, I typically focus on geopolitics, uh, and also one of my other areas of specialty. I'm part of National Liberty Alliance, which is the Unified United States Common Law Grand Jury, and we are now fighting to take back our jurisdiction because they turned DC into a foreign jurisdiction in 1871. So we've said enough. Stop charading as our government and flying our flag and waging war. That's it. So that's what we're doing. We are in the court. So we've had a lot of lead up to this. We've got people in 50 states and in 3,133 counties, but we need more. We need Americans to jump aboard because we're going to need juror pools because we are in the courts now. And we are in, of course, it takes a lot of fancy footwork, and that's what our national coordinators do. We're in the common law court. We're not in the, we don't recognize the Bar Association. And so everybody's been alerted. We have been prepping them for a few years now. And so people have been served. Congress has been served. The Supreme Court has been served. Joint Chiefs of Staff, I mean, everybody. Judges across the United States, federal judges.
So
And
what do you mean? But what do you mean by served? What are we serving
well,
them
we're
with?
holding them to their fraud. We're holding them to their fraud. We have a de facto government in Washington, D.C. It's an occupied foreign jurisdiction, 10 square miles. And it
I would
wasn't
say
like
so.
wasn't like that until 1871. And so we have two parallel governments going. We have the real republic, and I'm sure you've heard of people, the law of the land. And we have the real republic, and then we have this de facto corporation that they're trying to make us a part of, and which involves things that are unconstitutional. They're running their own corporate charter, and that's not the real Constitution. Uh, all I can say is that actually, and I say this often, it almost worked to our advantage that they are carrying on the fraud because it allowed us to have our parallel republic still standing. And we've been in the background fighting to get our jurisdiction back. In other words, to evict the people out of the building. That's what we're trying to do.
Well, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Is my sound
Sweet.
okay?
Yeah. Our government is definitely a corporation or completely controlled by corporations. Um, So what you're trying to do is to take the power back, if you will.
Well, yeah, we have a contract. We have something called the Constitution, and we asserted our right to self-determination way back. And
Well, some would argue though that the Constitution is just, rights issued by the state. That really it wasn't. It's not even for us. What do you think?
no,
I mean,
no, we have certain treaties. We have the Northwest Territory treaties. We have everything. We are the rightful heirs to the land under the Constitution, the 1789 Constitution. And what happened was after the Civil War, foreign interests came in and decided to put up a corporation in D.C. and to change like one letter or to put a gloss and name on that and call it, instead of the United States uh, for America, United States of America. So they've been carrying on a charade, a fraud, and it is a corporation. That's all it is. It's a de facto government. And so the real government, the de jure republic, the people of the 50 states, are fighting to say no. we've caught on to what you're doing here, and you're not going to drag us into it. And you never had our consent. They never had the people's consent. See, under the Republic, the people govern first. It's not what people look at today. See, people today that don't know civics don't know what their form of government is and don't understand how the Republic runs. They don't understand that they are our servants in the government. We were made sovereign for a reason. The name sovereign means there's nobody else above you except your creator. And we were guaranteed that in all 50 states of the Union. And so they've inverted the whole pyramid under this corporation. And actually, they're really there. We haven't had a legitimate government, a legitimate session of Congress since 1871.
I was about to say, have we ever really had any legitimate elections or, any kind of representation at all? It seems like our government makes decisions for the interests of corporations and not for people.
We don't recognize them as the government because they're not. It's a fiction. Do you see what I'm saying? It's a matrix. Okay, because when they have an election, they hire a CEO for their corporation. They don't elect a president. They're not president.
Oh my God, right?
They're a CEO of the corporation. That's why no matter which side they're on, they're going to have the best interests of the corporation. Unless every once in a while you get somebody that tries to break through that barrier and tries to take down some of these unconstitutional mechanisms, meaning the Federal Reserve, the United Nations, the corporation in the 10 square miles of DC, like a John F. Kennedy or Reagan. People who have tried, goes back to Andrew Jackson, actually, that took down the bank. You could get somebody. People are saying that Trump may try to break through some of these things. I don't know. We're not really concerned with who they elect because we don't recognize them as a legitimate government because they're not our legitimate government. We have a republic that we've been standing here on the land running for all of these years.
But how do we become separate, sovereign from a government for which we so far rely on for?
We win in court. We indict them for fraud and RICO charges, which is exactly what the whole Ponzi scheme was about. That's why.
But wouldn't you have to? I mean, you pretty much have to take the whole system down as it is.
Yeah, you do.
And
that's why.
Yeah, I mean,
we have groups across the United States that are actually swearing in governors, senators, lots of things. Parallel republic that's running. And the way the republic was designed was for normal people to go ahead and run, for your average person to go ahead and run. And that's another thing. You see, we had the 13th Amendment, we had the Titles of Nobility Clause. They let the Bar Association in to take over our courts. That's what they did first, with the central bankers too. But the Bar Association is not allowed under the 13th Amendment. They won't recognize our 13th Amendment, which is printed in our constitutions and it was ratified. And that does not allow the Bar Association in here. The Bar Association answers to the Crown and the Vatican. And that's how they're taking over our laws. And they're running us on statutes, and they're not running us under common law.
It's kind of how they're just like bypassing our whole system. Oh, there's Sherri. I didn't see her. My interface.
Yeah, that's what.
Sherri, how's it going?
That's what they're doing.
But yeah, they're basically trying to bypass our entire system, as you said, and
they're occupiers. They're usurpers. They're occupiers. They're foreign interests.
So is this like? Okay, yeah, continue.
Posing as our government, flying our flag, and waging wars, putting us in a mixed war, which is a war against when a government goes. Well, it can't really be a mixed war because they're not our real government. So the people there are usurpers. They're committing fraud. They have committed lots of fraud, and you name the crime, and the subversion of our Constitution.
Well, I mean, Darwin said, I think it was Darwin, that the government is only legitimate if it is of the consent of the people. And as it stands, the majority of people consent to this form of government, isn't it? So, I mean, don't they? So,
No, we didn't
isn't
consent.
it? And I didn't, of course.
No,
But I
they
mean,
did.
by
No, no,
saying
no, no, no,
nothing
no.
and by doing nothing.
They did this by taking our Constitution basically and putting it in the drawer and running their corporate charter, which looks just like our Constitution, except they would change things as they like them to be. And they put in statutes because they brought in the Bar Association instead of law. There's a difference between a statute and a law. There's a difference between de facto and de jure. They're running a de facto state and de facto statutes, de facto judicial branch. And that's not our judicial branch. Our laws are much different. They're much more simple. There's a reason why the Constitution was straightforward in the Bill of Rights, so that everybody could understand it. We didn't get bogged down into layers and layers of deceit, because our forefathers saw what they did in Europe. And they knew. That's why they wrote the Constitution, the Bill of Rights the way it is, because they knew this was coming. They knew that if somebody slipped through, they knew that we were going to have to face this.
Yeah, but I mean, uh, yeah, I mean, there's no doubting that. And do you think our forefathers would want to set up a country that is least likely to become like that which we're getting away from? Uh, yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought there.
Well, the whole idea
Hey,
behind this thing is that they deceitfully did it behind the people didn't know. And a lot
so
of
does
it,
this have any ties in with like the Freemasons and like the Illuminati and shit?
well, they are who they are. I mean, each person going down the line, yeah, there was a lot of people that, well, I mean, most of the people that came over here were Freemasons. And a lot of them actually had to go into those circles because they had to know what was going on behind the scenes in Europe. They couldn't geopolitically get a good picture. And you have to remember, back then, you couldn't just go into an internet cafe and get into a chat room. Back then,
All right. Sorry to cut you off. But Sherri was having internet microphone issues. It's really simple. You just go to your settings and choose your microphone and save. Um, Sorry, I want to make that sound complicated, but it's not. But anyway, yeah, and we just lost one of our people.
that's okay. No, but I just wanted to give people the link. It's nationalliberyalliance.org. And
Yeah,
you can go
definitely, and we'll
there.
put that in the description too.
It would be really great because people would benefit a lot. We offer a free civics course, a free constitutional course, and go under the court filings, the grand jury, and under the docket, and you can see what we have filed against them. And so now we're holding their feet to the fire. I think they've got 60 days, and so it should be coming up, and then we have to go into the next step and make sure if they don't answer that that we serve them accordingly. So that's it. But the Bar Association has nothing to do with the common law, nothing to do with our constitutional law. There's a reason why we did not have bar lawyers in here when we started this country. They were forbidden. They're titles of nobility. They are like esquire. They answer to the crown, like knights, so to speak. And they answer to them, not us. So their
So
interest is not
for
us.
for like people who don't really know what bar association, what is that?
It's the English British, what is it? British accredited register for attorneys.
Right
Yeah,
on, right on.
it's yeah. And so yeah, we didn't have any bar members here when we started this country. And we tried to keep our forefathers actually tried to keep the Jesuits out and tried to keep the Bar Association out, because the Vatican had pretty much had England in lockdown at that point, and we're working. Central European powers were working together. As you can see, we had to fight against all of them, and because it was the British and the French that during our Civil War, they were really trying to get back. We fought the revolution, and then there was the War of the 1812. We fought them again. And then they incited our civil war. And then when we were really broken down a week, they came in here and they assassinated the president. Congress couldn't convene, and they went in, they did their thing, put us back under central banking. And so that was the late 1800s, the end
Oh,
of 1871.
hey, welcome back, Sherri. Yeah, go into your settings panel. There should be. Oh, hmm. You're using a different interface than I am. Well, Google it. I don't know, man. It looks
YouTube
different from the.
it.
It, man, YouTube it. Share your screen. It might help me figure out what's going on. Uh, but yeah, Daniel, do you have any thoughts on the trying to hijack our entire system for the rich?
Hello?
Anyone?
Can you hear me?
Hey, what's going on, bro? What's going on?
Okay, so I'm getting out there. Oh, cool. I can be heard. I have a voice. Did Sherri figure her stuff out?
Not quite yet. I was being kind of a dick about it.
Sherri, we are patiently awaiting you because I really need to talk to you. Who's the other person on the line? Because I think this is the first time I've been with you in a long time, isn't it?
Mary Carmel?
This is Mary Carmel from Mary Carmel News. Yes.
Hey, Mary, nice to meet you. I'm Daniel.
Daniel, nice to meet you.
So you're talking about the Constitution and the law?
Yes, actually, we're talking about our jurisdiction. They've hijacked our country.
And
It's been a lot of years now.
you said something that I thought was very interesting. You said there's a difference. This is what a lot of Americans don't understand. You said there's a difference between the law and a statute and an act. Uh, and when people can in this country can get their head around this, then you'll see some things change. And so it's up to people like us to really educate people. But uh, I'm pretty sure you've read Black's Law Dictionary, not like a novel, but you probably have access to it. And
I've had access to it in my I did take some legal studies earlier on in my life. I don't have I'm not part of this team as far as doing a lot of the writing,
hmm
the documents, the legalese.
hmm
But that would be that would be a great show to have our national coordinators on. Boy, they would give great information to the people.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you might want to have them on. But so I'm not an expert in the legal east area for writing these actual writs of mandamus, prorogative, all that stuff.
Mhm.
But I'm still learning. I came aboard about 3 years ago,
hmm
2.5 to 3 years ago, and I'm actually ended up more on their media end. But I did do an outline for them because when we did our subversion document, and you can get that on YouTube, by the way. It's called Subversion National Liberty Alliance,
hmm
and you can get it on the front. It's on. You scroll down, and the video is actually on the front of our website. John actually reads the document, which is really nice because it's hard to sit and read that stuff, and to have somebody speak it is much better. And so I put in, through the fact that I was writing for an independent media outlet, I put in a lot of the issues. I said it basically falls all under one umbrella, and that's the UN plan, the UN agenda,
hmm
and which is a global plan.
hmm
And so we put in everything into that document, and we brought up everything from the geoengineering to the police state to vaccines to them GMOs for them poisoning us, you name it, all of the subversion of our rights and liberties.
Okay.
And so I created that outline, and then they put it into a legal document, and it's really interesting one to listen to,
hmm
so that people have an idea of what we're doing. And the other video I would recommend is the power of the grand jury, because basically that's what we are. We're the unified United States common law grand jury, because we have a right to have a grand jury, and they're even trying to hijack that. And it's the people's job to maintain and govern the grand jury. The grand jury is like a safety valve, so to speak. So when everything else runs amok,
hmm
we're kind of like the Navy SEALs. We always have the backup plan. So even if your superior goes rogue, When everything goes rogue, the grand jury is there to bring out corruption. And that's what we're doing. We're in there to indict them.
All right. Well, and please don't be offended. I hope that nobody's offended in the internet culture, but I'm not familiar with your work. You're probably not familiar with my work, but everybody's connected in a certain way for a certain purpose. But what's the website that you can be reached at? If you could send me a link through Skype.
Yeah, it's National Liberty Alliance. You can just type it into your Google bar and the website will come up.
And where are you guys based out of?
We're based across 50 states.
Oh, cool. Now I gotta ask you this real quick because I'm an optimist. And I'm real caught up to, I'm kind of a veteran in the whole, I guess you'd say, truth movement. So we're on the same level with the United Nations and all that good stuff. But I have to ask from the point of view of the National Liberty Alliance, are you guys of the opinion that there's hope that things can be changed, or are you like we're all doomed?
No, we're the remedy.
Okay, good.
We're the remedy. We're the largest active group in the United States that's trying to go in there and do something, and with the most members, the largest.
Okay. And the reason I bring this up, or the reason I want to kind of get where you're at on it is, I would like to know, are you guys at the National Liberty Alliance, are you familiar with the situation with Dwight Hammond out in Oregon?
Yes, one of our national coordinators in our team has actually been out there working a lot on that with them.
Okay, so you guys are up to speed on the current trials.
I believe we did the habeas corpus to get them in front of a judge.
Okay, so you're aware. I mean, you guys know that the judge there is kind of doing an in-round run.
We've been through the whole case, and we've had the Bundys on during our question and answer and on our show, and yeah, we've been highly involved in what's going on out west.
Okay, and let me ask you this question: as far as and I have a friend out there whose his trial it started the 14th. Opening statements are Tuesday. Jason Patrick. I do a daily update with him as the trial's going, and the whole idea that the felonies, we kind of know that it's very unlikely with a jury that after the previous acquittals, it makes no sense, and it's just pride and them being bullies that they're continuing with those felonies with the second group of Oregon protesters. But the whole angle that they're taking with issuing misdemeanors so that Judge Brown can do a bench trial is obnoxious to me. And
it is.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish. It is really obnoxious.
and in the common law, we're common people. We work at the common law. I'm talking to Patrick about this stuff, and I'm going, what part of the 10 Amendments does she not understand? Where she's not sure that you get a jury trial, and I've had to personally deal with this myself when I've been to court. We don't know if you get a jury trial. What part of any controversy over $20 you're guaranteed the right to trial by jury do you not get?
Well, she was seated by Barack Obama, so that's why she's usurping the law.
And what can be done?
Wait until you.
If he's got paperwork and he's being stuck, is he working with anybody on this case?
Jason Patrick is representing himself on principle, but he was forced by the judge, a legal counsel, which the way that he sees it is, well, I might as well use him if I can. It was my suggestion to him, and I don't think this will hurt anything. It was my suggestion to issue a writ of quo warranto regarding the fact that she's denying them a jury trial.
Right. You really need somebody who knows how to write these papers correctly. I would suggest he gets in touch with one of our national coordinators, being Robert Bristow.
Okay, let me write that down.
John Darash. If you can pull up the website, they're right there.
Yeah, I have it.
Because they're working on this. As a matter of fact, right before, I think, the inauguration, or on the inauguration day itself,
mm-hmm.
This judge actually had called and wanted to, I guess, drop some of the misdemeanors, talk about, because we did get a not guilty in Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not working on the case directly, so we're all working in the background. Um, but Robert's been out there. He's
Right.
out there in Oregon, in Washington, Oregon, and now he said he's going to work out with them in Nevada.
Hmm.
So yeah, he's very familiar with this judge, and our court watchers are out there because we have court watchers. They don't like our court watchers because we fill the court with people and that take notes, and they don't like that.
That's great.
Yeah, we actually had a judge leave the bench when they knew, because they had been served by us.
Hmm.
They had been served to quo warranto and then a writ of mandamus. So she said, "Oh, I have heard of you," and the guy said, "What?" And so the judge said, "I have to leave the bench." So
Well,
because
go ahead.
because he needs whoever your friend is. It Jason Patrick, you said?
Jason Patrick.
That name sounds familiar.
Oh, he's very prominent in the activist liberty movement.
Right.
Me and him have worked together since '08. And yeah, he's very prominent. And what we also thought, which I brought to his attention, was that in the first round of trials, Pete Santilli, think of him what you may, like him, hate him, whatever. Pete Santilli, all the charges were dropped because he was a journalist by his definition, the court's understanding, whatever you think of the guy. And so they dismissed the charges. And Jason Patrick was actually working as a journalist for me at the time. He was a little bit more involved. He did stay overnight at the refuge. That's open record. But that's never been brought up, and they have no intention of dropping the charges. And he's not, he's a patriot. And after this judge, and this has been written about, after this judge has usurped her authority several times, he just decided he wasn't going to stand for the judge anymore. He'll stand for the jury. So he's that type of guy.
Yeah. Well, this judge, I'll tell you, we got to get these guys out first, and then we will be going after an indictment on this judge.
That's excellent to hear.
Yeah, this judge has got to go, and I think this judge knows it because Obama's not in anymore, and this judge is starting to back down on some stuff. So yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess, and it was absolute subversion of the Constitution and the rights of Americans, and that's what Barack Obama was about. He's a communist, and he just comes in here and he just wants to run the country.
Well, by communist, how are you defining communist?
Oh God, if you know his history, you'd know.
By definition, communism has never been tried. There have been certain revolutions that have been called communism, which have actually degraded into a form of what you'd call state capitalism, even though it was called communism. So it's really complicated.
It's socialism by force. That's what it is.
Well, yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah,
you don't get a vote.
That's not really socialism, though. But I mean, I guess I could hear what you're saying there.
It's socialism by force, which, in other words, you don't get a say in anything. The government, everything is the state. The state runs everything, including your life.
That's one take on it.
Well,
but yeah, I mean,
read the history books, because when they're running your life, they push you into a gulag because you're not allowed to speak. That's running your life.
Yeah, I know that. I just anyway. But the definitely with Obama, not. I don't know. I don't know if Obama's really. I don't even know if Trump is really a socialist so much as they are corporatists. I mean, fascists believe in something. Corporatists don't believe in anything. They just believe in money, and that's what Obama believes in. Wouldn't you agree?
No, Obama's a communist.
Okay, well, I'll go with that.
I know his history. A lot of people don't know who he is. That's a problem.
Yeah, right on. Go on, guys.
If you know who he is and you know who his real parents were, then you would understand. And there's a reason why Bill Ayers launched his career out of his living room, and I'll leave it at that. There's your hint.
So what's you guys' take?
I mean, there's no other word for. Have you seen The Enemies Within by Trevor Loudon?
Well, I mean, there are plenty of words I could think of, but
Well, Well, no, it's all set out very straightforth in our civics course, and you could take that free, and it will explain to you the difference between fascism, communism, all of it.
Well, I'm what the internet would call an anarcho-communist. I've done my research quite a bit. But I'm gonna change the subject here. What would you?
So you believe in big government, but then you believe in no government?
No, that's not what. I can tell what direction we're going here with this one.
Well, I'd like a definition of anarcho. I'm not being confrontational with you, dude, but I'd like a definition for anarcho-communism.
First of all, communism has nothing to do with big government. Communism, actually more accurately, socialism is defined as workers' control over the means of production.
No.
There are multitude of ways in which
No.
It's not an argument. It's not a debate. It's just what it is. Now, there are a multitude of ways in which this has been accomplished in the past.
Well, let's leave it at that because, okay,
and not some of them
studied this stuff. So go to Edward G. Griffin and go to some other people and really get into what collectivism really is. Really get into what collectivism
that's the thing, is not all socialism is collectivism, nor is all socialism socialism. There are different kinds of socialism. There's Marxism, Leninism, Trotskyism. There's
we understand that.
I mean,
we understand that. Either way, it's collectivism.
Okay, well,
they're all
I can.
They just have their different styles. They're all collectivism.
Mary.
The thing is, not all form of collectivism is a bad idea, nor is all forms of socialism a bad idea.
Well, to you, maybe not.
Okay.
I'm a sovereign person, and I don't want anybody telling me what to do with my own property, or telling me I can't have property, or taking my property and giving it to somebody else because they think they believe in wealth distribution. I don't believe in that. So you're comfortable being a socialist, so that's good. Works out great for you. Well, it doesn't work out great for me because I don't believe that if I work, that the government has the right to say, oh, that person doesn't have it as good as you, so you know what? We're going to take from you and give it to them. That's stealing. That's theft. Last I checked. And that's what the whole argument is. And that's why conservatives will never see eye to eye with a socialist. Because our forefathers created this country. And it's really funny how all of these people, I witness it, and they stand there and they scream free speech, fascism, oh, you're this, you're that, oh, socialism under Bernie's going to work. But they don't even know how the real republic is
Bernie's not a socialist.
Well, I want to jump in here.
Well, sure. What I'm saying is that they don't understand how the republic works. So how are they going to make a comparison?
Well, can I be the?
Yeah, let someone else talk.
Let me be the dunce, and I'm sorry, Sherri. Let me before you interject, and you know I hate to interrupt females, but speak to me. I'll be the dunce in the room. Speak to me in a third grade language. What is collectivism? What is a republic? What is socialism? And what is communism?
I'm not going into this whole thing with you guys because you guys are really on the defense about it, and you guys have said in the same sentence that you're communist.
Well, I'm not. See, that's the thing. I'm not on the defense. I'm not on the defense. I'm trying to explain objectively what socialism is.
Hang on just a second before we go any further.
All night to go into, and we could go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Okay.
I'd really not like to do that, though.
Let me clarify.
I don't want to do that. I came on your show to tell you what I'm doing as an activist out there to try to remedy the situation in the United States. What my personal views and your personal views on what you think we should have for a government, I don't want to go into.
I'd hate to start off a show by throwing the word communism around by labeling people like Obama a communist or Trump fascist. Because neither of those terms are accurate. Obama's not a communist and Trump is not a fascist.
Mary, let me clarify real quick. I'm not a communist. I've never even heard the term anarcho-communist before.
Well, somebody just threw it at me. I don't know what they were. Your host of your show said I'm anarcho-communist. Eunice. So I said, well,
I think I can bring some clarification here.
Listen,
instead of
I don't
it being.
even want to talk about this subject anymore. I came on here to
I'm gonna hang up.
It's a forum, Mary. This is a forum. It doesn't have to agree. I mean,
what the fuck you have to say. So I'm hanging up because I get it. I sat here and listened to your bullshit for like 30 minutes, and now when somebody else has something to say, you sit there and tell everybody to shut up. Fuck you.
I didn't
oh my
tell
god,
anybody to
dude,
shut
Sherri,
up.
guys, it's a fucking forum.
Oh,
You're supposed to
Carmel.
argue. You're
Yes,
supposed to
I didn't tell
debate.
anybody to shut up. I didn't tell anybody to shut up. I just told you I came on to explain. You asked me to come on and to
I wish I
be
said nothing.
part of it. To be part of
I'm
the forum. I said, okay,
I'm
I agreed to come on and share with you what we're doing to try to remedy the situation, to go into a whole civics course and try to explain a whole civics course.
Let's do that. Let's talk about how we can fix the situation, because regardless of what ism you identify as, there is no ism. The problems are there. I mean, the problems have to be fixed. However you fucking identify politically, the problems have to be fixed. So let's focus on the problems instead of the isms.
Is, the person that hung up, everybody wants to talk about it, but is she out there doing something really actively about it?
Yeah, she is, but we're all doing our own thing. I'm an activist in the Bangor area. Daniel, yeah. So let's continue with the solutions instead of the isms. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We need to. We're really under fire here under the clock to get things fixed, and there are some people that want to save the republic, and there are some people that want to change America. That's, I think, what the problem here is, and that's where the anger comes from, why you get people to hang up and stuff like that. Okay, because there are people that want to change America from what the original form of government is. Okay, and that's actually what they came in, and they slowly did that when they occupied this country. And so we've been standing here for years and years. Conservatives have been standing here for years and years trying to hold on to that Constitution, which, by the way, gives you the right to even have an opinion. Because if you didn't have that, you would have no opinion, and you would have no protests and no marches. So you got to, everybody that hates conservatives, I know a lot of them do, but we do fight on a daily basis to hold up that Bill of Rights. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to hold up our original form of government, our real form of government, the parallel government that's running here, and that has always been.
Wasn't our original form of government intended that only white men who owned property could vote?
Please. Don't even go there.
Well, I mean, that's what it is. And it makes me think, as far as the America being great again concept, I kind of feel like as a country, we've always been a hypocrisy, a fucking contradiction. But at the same time, we're becoming more and more like what we want to be.
It happened to be
Black people can finally vote. Women can finally vote now. Everyone has the opportunity we were supposedly entitled to.
Do you know why women vote
getting
now?
That? And why is that?
Why do you think they had women vote? Why do you think they had allowed them to vote?
Well, some would argue. Well, I'll hear it from you.
No, I'm asking you. Why do you think they vote?
Because everyone deserves equal opportunity to have their say. Supposing that we do have our say, which I doubt that our vote even counts.
That's what they told you. Yeah. So no, they wanted the women to vote because you know who explains it really well is an author called M.S. King. M as in Michael, S as in Sam, King. And he wrote a very short book. You can read it really quick. And it's called Killing America, 100 Years, the 40 Wounds That Took Down America. And it's about how the left slowly moved in. And they wanted the women to vote because the women appealed to the more welfare state, the nanny state. They appeared for more social services because they were more nurturing by nature. And that's how that's why they wanted women to vote. And
yeah, but how is that necessarily a bad thing?
It's not. What I'm saying is that if they didn't do it even though we know that women should have an equal right to vote, they didn't do it for a noble cause back then. That's all I'm saying. It's amazing to watch how they operated behind the scenes.
Daniel,
Yep.
any thoughts?
Oh man. Wow. I didn't know.
Man.
Whenever you asked me on, I didn't know it was gonna, get all heated like that.
This is chaos, complete fucking chaos. That's how we do it. I mean, it's a forum, man. It's a forum, you know.
Yeah, I don't do chaos. I don't do debate or argument.
Really, I was hoping that it wouldn't come down to that. I was really wanted Sherri to actually say something.
Let me ask
What's
you.
chaotic? You asked me a question. I answered it. I don't know what's chaotic. I'm sorry.
Let me ask you this, Dustin. Okay, because I've never heard the term anarcho-communism. So
okay,
no,
let me break it down.
No.
Hold on. He was addressing.
Okay, I'd like to finish that thought.
Yeah.
Let me finish that thought.
Trotskyism. Okay. What? Oh, sorry. Dude,
you got to chill out. Okay. Here's. I guess this is what I'm trying to get at. You understand that this is a republic, yes?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. You understand the Constitution, yes?
I understand the Constitution, yes. What is the question?
Do you not like living with the Bill of Rights? Do you want to see it change? What is if you had?
I think the Bill of Rights right now is kind of relative if you think about it. I mean, look at what our government is doing. Look at the Dakota Access Pipeline. I mean, we're not really. Have we ever had a government that represents the people, dude?
Dude, the government doesn't give you your rights.
The government never gives you your rights. See, that's the difference between the republic. That's kind of my
point. Yeah. That's my point. Is the Constitution is a set of rights which the government can, adapt, freaking give, take away.
No, that's where you're wrong. The republic cannot be changed, okay? Because laws are given to you as when you're born here on the planet, you are automatically have the right.
Yeah, but who's enforcing those laws? Who's enforcing the Constitution? The people, right?
No. Mary said a word. Okay, now it's a word that will get you thrown in a jail cell, and I know this because it has gotten me thrown in a jail cell. Mary used a word, and that word was sovereign. Okay? The word sovereign is where you get your rights, essentially. The government doesn't give them to you, and the government is not responsible for protecting them to the level that you, on an individual, as a sovereign, if you wish to be one. Okay, that's where your rights inherently come from whatever your creator is.
So Daniel, you wanted an answer to your question, right? What is anarcho-communism? What is that concept in political political thought?
Yeah, I mean, and I don't want to get too philosophical about it, but if you had your way today, what would you do with the Constitution and the Bill of Rights today? What would you do with it? Just get rid of it?
Well, first of all, if it is what you say it is, a series of inalienable rights and not something that can just be given and taken by the government, which is pretty much what it is right now, at least in my opinion, not yours, not Mary's, but mine, then I'd do nothing with it. It's a given. It's a human thing. It shouldn't. It's a piece of paper, right? It's a given. But
right. But so you would keep it.
I mean, of course we'd fucking keep it. But the thing is, the whole concept of what anarcho-communism is. It's not doing anything right now. I mean, the whole point of being anarchist is to create a culture of dissent, and it's to create a.
Dustin.
I'm not. If I can't speak, then I'm just going to let you two speak.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interject. I'm just clarifying because you said it's not doing nothing. There is a contract. Without that, our forefathers, what you saw in other countries, didn't have that. They did not have those unalienable rights. Okay, so that's the difference. So you would keep it. That's all I wanted to know. Okay.
Yeah. Well, anyway, in short, in 2-year-old terms, communism, socialism is collective ownership of. workers' control over the means of production, and anarchism is no government, well, no rulers. It doesn't necessarily mean no government. And in this sense, communism is a method for achieving anarchism. And if you want to know how and what all that is, you can look it up and do your research. It's not really what I intend on doing a show on today, but anyway, it's the anti-authoritarian end of communism. There you go.
So
It's about ownership and about property.
Yeah, and also you have to understand that communists don't not believe in property. They don't believe in private property, not meaning to say that your private property, but an unjustified amount of private property, i.e. factories and acres and hundreds of thousands of fucking acres
Well, if
of
it
land and
belongs to
Walmarts
you,
and shit.
who's to justify whether it's yours or not, whether you deserve it or not?
How can it be justified? There comes a point where
Your
you just
property
can't
is your
own the
property.
entire planet. What happens when you own the planet, man? Well, it's my property, right? I can do whatever the fuck I want with the planet, right?
Basically, yeah.
That's a problem. That is a serious problem. And that is what
That's why
people
we
on
have
the more
that's why we have
left,
sovereign nations
farther.
and sovereign borders, because so people and law and international law. So that's what we're fighting for, so that they can't do that. That's why we're fighting for our sovereign borders. Okay, because an open border policy means they can come in and they can take all these countries, and we're not trying to stop them from doing that.
Well, there you go. We are somewhat on the same page. I think, even though we don't agree on everything, we are similar.
Yeah, I just think you have to really, really be careful of the language. So you got to listen to their language, and when there's a difference between the language that the elite use. Oh, there's a great article I did on it once. It was called the Golden Web series. Getting to know how they speak and why they say certain things and why there are certain terms. And Daniel, I'm sure you've seen this in Black's Law Dictionary. The origin of words is very important under the law.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so what we're getting down to here is people are talking about this right, that right, da 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 da. When it's workers and no, it's about property. It's about who owns what, and your right to be able to prosper, and your right to be a sovereign person and prosper. And basically the Constitution is really a lot about property rights.
Well, from my understanding, you can clarify, Mary, in the original drafting, the founding fathers said that we have the right given by our Creator for life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. And they felt that property and happiness were synonymous. And
yeah, because they're referring, when they say in pursuit of happiness, they're referring to the pursuit of happiness in terms of being your right to be able to work and enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Right. And I would just say that like I said, I'm not a debate type guy, unless it has to do.
Oh, I don't like to debate at all.
But
it's just, I mean, there's sometimes in life you have to, and you try to make your point, but
yeah,
but yeah, no, there's a.
But I wanted to. But Mary, before you go ahead, I would like to say that I'd like to point out that the Bill of Rights is doing something right now, because I am enjoying a Sunday afternoon. I am free to speak with you guys, and I have a .357 Magnum right beside me that will stop anybody who wishes to impose their will on my property right now.
That's what separates us from every other country in the world, is that Bill of Rights. And so there's a lot of people that'll stand up there and put down our form of government, but they don't understand that, as the communists used to call them in Russia, when they were done with them, with their protests, they called them useful idiots, because they pushed their program. And then afterwards, when nobody had any rights, then you don't have the right to get out there and protest. So if you don't believe that we have a good form of government, and you don't believe in the Bill of Rights, well, go ahead, take it away. Well, you don't have a right to say a word. So what are you going to say next? You know what I mean? I mean, people have to understand the importance of it. That's all I'm saying. The importance of where your rights come from. And I think if everybody understands where our rights come from and what it means to lose them and how close we came to losing them, it still are. and what sets us apart from every other country, that Bill of Rights, which they insisted upon putting in there. It's really important. It really is. It's because it is doing its job. It is, because he was at one
I
point saying it
just
doesn't do anything.
feel as if there were more democracy in the workplace and
Democracy.
so on.
Democracy's mob rule.
Continue. Just continue.
Democracy doesn't work. We're not a democracy. They tried to tell you that. They tried to turn us into a democracy. Democracy. There's not been one democracy in history that's ever survived.
No, it's just a transitional type of government into tier.
Well, it always gets overpowered on one side, because the people that do the work, at one point or another, they're not going to be able to sustain the other side, as they would let in immigrants and things like that. They're not going to be able to sustain the people that don't have money and that they're trying to supplement. So that's why it burns itself out, because financially it collapses. As far as rights go in a democracy, it's mob rule. The republic protects the minority, and that's what people get it backwards. The republic, if you get 5 people, okay, or let's say you've got 3 out of 4 people want to hang somebody, okay, democracy rules says, okay, 3, they say we're going to hang this person, so they hang. Under the republic, the minority,
that guy's got a gun.
gets protected. No. Under the republic, the sheriff comes along and says, no, he has a right to a trial jury, whether 3 of you think he should hang or not. And if that jury says, no, we don't have evidence to prove that he should be hung, the minority walks away and gets protected. See, people think that the republic doesn't protect the minority.
So you're saying that in a democracy there is no rule of law, just rule of the mob.
It's mob rule, yes. It's the majority. Majority would be, actually, that's another word for majority. Whereas the republic protects the rights of the minority. The way our whole judicial system is set up under the Constitution and the Bill of Rights.
I think it's also important to make a notation that what we see as our, quote, government right now should not reflect the spirit of the Constitution or the intent of the Founding Fathers, who said that with apathy over time, a republic will fall from within because of apathy. And to say, well, the republic didn't work, Constitution shit, is kind of like Wile E. Coyote using a contraption and it not working, and rather than tweaking why it didn't work, getting a new contraption that's not going to work either. It's about, like you were talking about, if we can make people aware and not apathetic and restore a republic, rather than thinking it's outdated, because the Founding Fathers made it very clear, take legalese away from it, take documents, take all that stuff away. It says, we hold these truths to be self-evident. It's natural. It's in nature.
It involves a lot of natural law and a lot of common law, which came from, of course, England, when they knocked down with the Magna Carta, things like that. But yes, to keep the republic would be the smartest thing, because a lot of people don't understand that. They think, okay, America's always been fighting. First of all, we were defending ourselves and standing up to create a republic in the beginning, because England was trying to colonize. And
that's not what we're doing anymore, though.
Don't hold that against the Constitution.
We're not talking about how it's working today, because it's not a representative of our republic today. It's not. We're hijacked by a bunch of thugs.
I'm more or less holding that against the consent of the people. I mean, like I said, our Bill of Rights, our Constitution, is really only as valid as the people willing to fight for it. And right now, I'm just not seeing that outside of, you know, these supposed
and that's you're absolutely
George Soros funded protests, which I highly doubt were actually funded by George Soros, but that's neither here nor there. Well, I mean, that's still debatable, but assuming it assuming it wasn't, whatever. These protests are bullshit. I don't see anything coming out of it. I do see something coming out of the North Dakota protests. And I really don't. I don't know, man. It's like, okay, hey, and then we fought, we won, we got what we wanted. Trump comes in and fuck these people. God, government, dude.
There was a lot of people sent in there to protest. a lot of people that went in there to protest don't understand what agreements were written and not written, and how there could be an Army Corps of Engineers that could maybe reroute the water problem. They might have made a mistake, and it could be fixed really easily. But there's a lot of people that don't understand either that we can go on and we can keep the relationship we have with Saudi Arabia, keep giving them guns, and they pump up the petrodollar and this, or we could be possibly break free of that and not be part of that. And yes, we want to go for cleaner energy, but we're right now, sorry, but we're in the weeds right now because the Federal Reserve has taken everything we have. So it would be nice if that we could start getting some American export. And yes, it would be nice if we didn't have to trample on the land at all. And I do think we have to take care of the planet. The Army Corps of Engineers should have thought about how they did the ending of that pipeline, and I think they can fix that. But there was a lot of paid protesters sent in there, and you got to remember that protesters don't necessarily.
Oh, there's no doubt about
know
that.
what they're protesting.
I'm not doubting that they were paid. I just don't think that one guy is doing it. I actually think that a lot of people are doing it. I think
Well-
these like establishment groups, like Maine People's Alliance, for example, which is like a, generic Democrat, pro-Hillary, blah, blah, shitty liberal group here in Maine that pretty much runs up all the referendums and the petitioning and shit. And
Right.
they helped get pot legal, which is great. But yeah, that.
you're
I
talking
mean, a
about
lot of the
George
people who I
Soros?
interviewed.
You're talking about George?
No, I mean, some of these people don't know why they're coming to the protests, I can validate that. And a lot of those people do know why they're coming, and they're of their own fruition, like myself. I've been to those demonstrations, and I've never been paid $1, so it really depends.
This is where they came up, the KGB and the communists, they come up with the term useful idiots, because they get them out there and they push them to protest. And then when everybody loses their rights, they're the first ones to go. They
Well,
just
yeah,
ahead.
I'm sure the Leninists had their ways of manipulating people into being useful idiots, but I'm not a useful idiot, so...
Oh, no, I wasn't referring to you. I was referring to people in the streets. It had nothing to do with you at all.
Well, the implication... Never mind. Anyway, yeah, yeah, and there are plenty of people who do show up of their own fruition for the right reasons.
Yes. And that's what we need, is we need a more informed populace, whichever side you want to take, whichever angle you want to take and what you believe in, as far as your principles. We need a more informed populace if they're going to get out there to be screaming and yelling. And first of all, there's a difference between protesting and rioting. And rioting is breaking the law, and that's what we're dealing with right now. And a lot of these democratic, like you were saying, these agencies, like 50 of them, like I mean, a lot of these agencies are owned and run by George Soros, and it's cleaning out some of these agencies that are in there, and they're just basically a storefront for funneling money and raising money to. He's the king of color revolutions. Like right now, he's in Macedonia. They're having a big uprising, and they just found out he's funneling taxpayer money, which he's probably doing. I want to say he would probably need Barack Obama for that. He's probably doing that, but as I've seen Barack Obama do it with the Muslim Brotherhood, I've seen the checks from the Treasury that have gone straight in. But but the point is that the money's being traced back to U.S. tax dollars, and that George Soros is running these, and he's got them fighting in the streets and standing up. He did it in Ukraine. He's trying to aggravate Hungary. He's obviously doing it here. He had a lot to do with a lot of these groups, a lot of color revolutions all over the world. He's done it throughout his life, and America is his big prize. He wants America, guys. He wants America bad. He said that would be his life's culmination. And it's sad for me to see people out protesting that fall for his line, because they don't realize when they get down off of that soapbox screaming free speech that First Amendment is under the Republican form of government, under the Bill of Rights, and that's what we're trying to hold up for them.
So, Uh,
We got to
yeah.
work together. We got to work together. Work together. They see conservatives as the enemy, and we're not the enemy. We have been fighting to hold up, I mean, through the John Birch Society since the early 1900s. We've been fighting to hold up this Constitution because we saw the foreign interests infiltrating this country. And it got worse after World War II, of course, with the creation of the CIA and the United Nations. And they completely took over where they shouldn't. They took over our military, all of our intelligence agencies, right up into the executive branch. They were running things, and so they're running everything. So we need a clean house. We do. We're a completely occupied country, and like our forefathers said, they said it's a republic if you can keep it. And like Jefferson said, it requires participation. And a lot of people, think they can vote every 4 years and they don't need to participate. And participation on a daily basis, getting involved with your local community, when you see something come in, and telling your local representative, don't take the federal tax money, because if you do, you're going to be held to this UN program,
So
and it's not going to be good.
how do you feel about income tax?
I don't think it's legal.
Neither do I.
It was never ratified. All it is a collection agency of the Federal Reserve to pay the interest on the money they print.
Sounds about right. How about on taxes in general? Are you for taxes?
Well, there are local taxes that are allowed, that are legal, lawful, and that is for your local community to sit and decide upon. And that's where we have the breakdown of the states and communities, the states' rights, because a certain state may have different needs than another state, and they may want to put some taxes towards a new road or schools, or they may have to build a bridge because they've got more water. So local taxes, that's a different thing, a whole different ballgame. But when it comes to the federal income tax, it's 100% illegal, and so isn't the Federal Reserve. It's a foreign jurisdiction. They gave it the name the Federal Reserve, obviously, so that people thought it was federal. It meant our government, and they were hoodwinked. Everybody was hoodwinked. And they have nothing to do with our government. They're a foreign jurisdiction, and nobody can touch them. They're not even part of the United States.
Kind of like Walmart. Good times. Well, that is the issue, isn't it? How do you
There's a lot of issues. Guys, I really appreciated this conversation because I get to see how other people are thinking when we sit down in a forum like this. I got a little thrown off. I didn't mean to piss somebody off, but
no, it's
I thought I was
it's
coming
cool.
Here for a different reason.
I probably could have handled things differently, but it's good. It's why we bring on such a vast range of people, because even though we don't agree with each other.
Yeah, and it's good. I really like to hear other people's views, because that's what we're here for, is to educate each other. We're all here to try to save the planet and to save where we're living, and to have peace and prosperity, to be able to have a roof over our head and a bowl of soup. That's what we're here for. And we need to start treating each other all as Americans. We're all Americans. And whatever differences we have, we need to sit down at the table and educate each other, because a lot of the people that are angry might not necessarily know what they're angry about. And once they're educated, and that's another thing our forefathers insisted upon, was education, because without education, you will have tyranny.
Yeah, there's definitely a huge effort to damage the educational system.
Right.
How do you feel that's gonna? How do you feel the educational system is gonna be affected going forward if things progress at this rate?
I'd like to see it get better and get out of the I think the Department of Education is another unconstitutional move. Anything that goes under the federal government, basically. Our forefathers, if you look at the graph.
My mother is a teacher, and was a teacher, and she'll completely agree the Department of Education needs to be done away with. But why do you feel that should be done?
Well, because like I said before, different areas, different demographics have different needs, and what they've done is they've not only turned it in. See, we're not dealing with just federal against the states now. We've got a third layer here that people, the big elephant in the room that no one's looking at, and that's the global plan, which means the United Nations. And a lot of that education, the reason why they federalized it, because they made a treaty with the United Nations under UNESCO, and they want an education system for the whole world. So it's bad enough to have to fight to.
Yeah, and they're trying to treat everyone equally, regardless of culture, religion,
Yeah.
and whatever.
Equally rotten, they're trying to treat us.
We're gonna end up having to end this forum early. My laptop battery is shot and it's starting to die again. But
okay, well, it was really good to come on.
yeah. Where how are you guys next weekend? We're gonna be doing the show same time, same place, and we'll try to get some more people on who might contribute to this.
Yeah, I mean,
But I'd definitely like to continue with the direction we're going.
oh, I'd love to, because we can help to educate each other and go forward, because like I said before, we are all Americans, and America is right teetering on the edge of being broken up right now. If they break it
Oh,
up,
absolutely. There are some places in this country, like Maine, for example, which are so economically depraved. I mean, this country is falling the fucking apart, man. And there are places that are talking about secession, like California and Texas. What's the word on that? Is that actually going to happen? Like, do you feel that would happen?
well, Jerry Brown has been pretty active on this. Jerry Jesuit Brown, he and his team of foreign interests are really hell-bent on taking California, and I think this dam accident has something to do with it, because for years we've been fighting the fact that they want to get rid of the dams in California and flood out the place. And these farmers have been fighting to keep the land and keep farming it. See, they want to take our food away and get us off the land and push us all into mega cities, and that's the plan.
Push us all into cities, poison our water, and
Right.
sell it back to us, make us completely dependent.
Yeah, so this is a perfect example, and I think they let the infrastructure go, because that's going to be a tool that they're going to use. And we've been talking about this for a long time, and actually Paul Preston, who's on the board for the state of Jefferson, he was saying that
Jefferson.
watch this whole no, they're doing really well, and the only thing holding back the state of California walking away with it by force with mercenaries is probably the legalities of the state of Jefferson. And so in order to get rid of the state of Jefferson, they say, well, we'll just flood all these farmers out. I think that's what he's doing. That's my own personal opinion. They've been trying to do it for years. That's the whole reason why the state of Jefferson went forward. So you could add a state to the union, but you can't take one away. It's illegal.
Yeah, it's we're not exactly a confederation, even though we probably should be a confederation.
Yeah, so they're gonna.
But
They
then
they're
again,
gonna take it by force. Whether they, they say they're going to take it by force. Whether they can do it legally or not. If they can't do it legally, they're gonna take it by force. And so,
well, folks,
that's the whole whole plan of the UN. It's just split up the United States. They want to weaken us. So.
Well, and a topic perhaps for the next show would be the North American Union versus breaking up the country, and instead, which kind of it's a bold contrast to the theory that they're trying to join us all together under one country. But
right.
but we'll make that a topic. Actually, I do want to get into the North American Union thing and what you were talking about. And how do you feel about next week? Yeah, you want to come on? Right on.
Sure. Yeah. I'm in and out as long as I don't. I have a very sick cat right now, and he's been on and off, and so I'm hoping to get him level this week. So unless I'm running to an emergency vet appointment or something, I should be here. Okay.
Okay, folks. Well, thanks for coming on. It's too bad we had to end it so short. But we'll be on again.
Thank you.
5 p.m. Yeah, definitely. We'll be on again at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday next week. Thank you, folks. And
okay. It was great to meet you guys. Bye, Daniel. Bye, everyone.